welcome back to 2.8's release. Sorry if you hear like a low rumbling noise coming from this side. Well, I don't know if the surround sound or whatever, but you know, whatever. I have a fan here because it's summer. I'm sorry, I need something to cool myself down or I'm gonna pass out mid playthrough. I'm not even kidding. Okay, so for what we saw during the Scuff 2.8 live stream, this is centered around something about Kazuha and his ancestor swordsmiths, the Raiden Gokuden, and something to do with an ancient blade that has different forms apparently.
It's been a while since we first set foot on Inazuma.
True.
So many things.
It's funny they brought that up.
Then.
As if in the blink of an eye, there have been many memorable events.
Yeah, we've definitely made some progress on our journey. So, where should we go today?
Have we? Since the Inazuma arc, have we? Or maybe this picks up, it's a story that picks up right after the arc. Oh, wait a moment.
Huh? What's up?
Jesus Christ.
Be careful, someone is coming. That's the blade! That's a version of the blade from the PS4 screenshot. Why does he have it?
Huh? So you don't have a vision after all?
What?
Seems like I've mistaken you for someone else.
At the very least, you should make sure you've got the right person before you go attacking them.
Right. Looking for Kazuha?
No, wait. Even when you've got the right person, you shouldn't go attacking them out of the blue. It's dangerous.
Have you ever met someone by the name of Kaedahara Kazuha?
Right, how the hell did you mistake us for Kazuha? First of all, we're a girl, okay? And second, we look nothing like Kazuha. Ain't no way.
He carries a sword just like you. I've also heard that he possesses an animal vision.
Why are you looking for him?
That's none of your business. Never mind. You don't look like you know anything anyway. I'm wasting my time.
What the heck is this guy's problem? Coming around here, waving that weird sword in our faces, and he didn't even apologize. Seems like a real nutcase. Well, one thing's for sure. No way are we telling him anything about Kazuha.
Couldn't agree more. Very smart for once. Maybe we should warn him though. I'm just concerned about the sword.
Side, we should go fight Kazuha right away and tell him to watch his back.
Actually, I have a hunch.
Oh? What kind of hunch?
I think this guy may have a special connection to Kazuha.
A special connection? You mean beyond already knowing each other?
I can't say for sure, but I feel like their fighting styles are kind of similar.
Yeah, maybe a little. But then again, most people look pretty much the same once they start fighting, so that doesn't really prove anything. Anyway, there's no time to lose. Let's go tell Kazuha so we won't get into any danger. Paimon heard that the Crux fleet is stocking up in Rito at the moment. Let's look for him there.
Beto's in Inazuma right now? A strange and friendlyless road. Oh wow, you really had to do him like that. Friendless? Is the Alcor actually here? More Beto screen time! Oh. Damn. I got excited.
You're looking for Kazuha too, huh? Guess he must have done something impressive after all.
Two?
Well, we took the small vessels into Rito on a routine supply run, only this time,
God dang.
As soon as we entered the harbor, we ran into a huge crowd of Inazumans, all of them wanting to know about Kazuha.
What, is it because from the Urodori festival?
If it's because of that battle on Nizuchi Beach, Captain Beto had a great run there too, but I don't see her getting this kind of attention. Kazuha keeps to himself most of the time. In fact, there are times when he doesn't even listen to the captain, but she just laughs it off.
Oh, so you still don't know what he did?
No, I don't think anyone does.
I've heard bits and pieces. Something about him blocking the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi.
Well, that's gotta stir up something.
Is it really as big a deal as everyone's making it out to be?
Do you see how she split an island in half on the geography of Taiwan? Yes, you could compare it to the technique Beto used to strike down Haishan.
Really? Wow. When you put it like that, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
In that case, his newfound stardom is well deserved. He was called away earlier by some people from the Tenryou Commission. They said they had something important to discuss with him.
Thank you! Guess we'll go pay a visit to the Tenryou Commission.
Oh, we're going in? It's been a while since we've been back here. And, Kazuha and Kujo Kamaji, was it?
Oh? It's you.
Hey, Kazuha, you could not get enough screen time in this game.
Greetings.
Yeah.
We were just discussing the
Alright.
repealing of the Vision Hunt decree. Since you're here, you're very welcome to listen in on the conversation.
Alright.
We invited Mr. Kaidahara here to extend a gesture of goodwill on behalf of the shogunate.
Okay, good for you.
Your hard work has secured for us the agreeable state of affairs that we now enjoy. Also, I've been granted the chance to correct my clan's past mistakes, and for that, I'm deeply grateful. The Almighty Shogun has issued a large array of directives aimed at resolving, or at least easing, the tensions that have built up over the years.
Right.
The Tri-Commission has made the recommendation to use this opportunity to restore the honor of the Kaidahara name.
Ah.
Regarding the history of the Kaidahara clan, I trust that you're already somewhat informed?
Yeah. Raiden Gokuden, Bladesmith, Kunikuzushi / Scaramouche, did him dirty, jumped them out of the blue, ruined the whole family, ruined the whole sword art, and there was the whole issue with the fake blueprint thing. I've heard a thing or two. I forgot.
In short, there was once a group of select bladesmiths who served the shogun directly, responsible for upholding and further developing the traditional blade forging arts of the almighty shogun. The Kaidahara clan belonged to this class.
Still a shame we kept the blueprint for the blade, but then we never got to forge a weapon with it. Maybe this is what makes up for it.
But there came a time when some of these bladesmiths revolted and fled to Snezhnaya. Both the Kaidahara and Kamisato clans were held accountable for lax oversight and entered a period of great turmoil.
Snezhnaya.
We later learned that the whole misadventure had been secretly orchestrated by the Fatui. Attributing all of the blame to the Kamisato and Kaidahara clans was neither proper nor just. Considering Mr. Kaidahara has once more made an outstanding contribution to Inazuma, the almighty shogun believes he should not only be rewarded for his achievements, but also receive recompense for the excessive punishment borne by his clan in the past.
Wow, okay.
In the interest of preventing further harassment of the Bladesmith clans by the Fatui, we chose not to publicly release the findings of our investigations into these matters. We trust you can understand why this was necessary.
This is a true honor. I am delighted to be in a position to receive the goodwill of the almighty shogun and the shogunate at large.
Just realized Tenryu Commission has its own OST.
However, would I be correct to assume that this magnanimous gesture does not come without some strings attached?
The costs.
I can assure you that nothing could be further from the truth. We seek only to correct a past injustice. With the
Are you sure
Kaidahara
about that?
clan's reputation and occupation restored, the Kaidaharas will be bladesmiths once more, and your wanderings will finally come to an end.
I have grown accustomed to life among the elements. I fear I would no longer feel at home behind the tall walls of a stately abode. Yet my ancestors did indeed take great pride in the name of Kaidahara, and the art of blade making for which it stood. I do have a responsibility to restore their honor.
I sense some hesitation in your words. Should you accept this offer, I imagine many of the malicious rumors currently circulating through the populace will disappear. Eyewitnesses saw him using the power of Electro in addition to that of Animo. As a result, the falsehood that Kaidahara Kazuha was using a delusion began to spread.
Oh, okay, that's not good.
What? But that doesn't make sense. Using a delusion turns you old and frail.
Hey, he's
and
built
Kazuha
different,
still
lads.
looks fine.
Just because you jealous, you can't use dual visions.
This is just one of many similar rumors. I am very uncomfortable with being the subject of public discussion, no matter whether it brings suspicion or stardom my way. But perhaps if the shogunate is willing to publicly support me, this situation will blow over more quickly.
This is precisely why I encourage you to give our offer some serious thought. It stands to benefit all of us.
Maybe just make one blade. Just one.
Please allow me some time to consider.
You do that, Canadian
In
ether.
fact, let us put this discussion on hold for the moment. Well then, what brings the two of you here?
Someone wants to kill you. You and Palma recount the attack on the outskirts of the town to
Why would
Kazuha.
such a dangerous individual be looking for me?
Do you have any siblings that is modeled after an NPC? Could it be someone you trained with under the same master?
No. This puzzles me as much as it does you. My fighting forms were taught to me by my family, based on techniques originally developed for blade testing. We undergo rigorous training to standardize every motion the blade is put through, so that each can be fairly assessed for quality. Over time, these techniques came to form something of a Kaidahara sword art, focused on blade testing but with a full repertoire of combat forms.
Yeah, that sword looked like it was almost alive. Festering desire.
Those forms are quite different from the more practical ones typically used by samurai in battle, so it's hard to imagine that the similarity you speak of was coincidence alone.
All the more reason to watch your back. This guy was a serious nutcase.
Indeed. He sounds highly aggressive. Anyone he targets is at risk of serious injury. Or worse.
That guy is this close to Paimon giving him an ugly nickname. I can feel it coming on.
I will send some men out immediately to search for him.
That's gonna be hard though. He looks like any Tenryu Commission guy NPC ever.
I will first join the Traveler in investigating the one who attacked her, then give you a conclusive answer upon my return. Come on. Let's go and track down your aggressor.
The detective agency knows the most about what goes on in town.
Oh.
Let's see what Ryuji has to say.
I thought they were gonna talk to Hazel because they're good buddies, no? I thought we were gonna see Hazel.
Hey there! We'd like to ask you a quick question. Do you know if anyone around here has been looking for him? For Kaidahara Kazuha, we mean.
We are currently investigating an assault and would appreciate any help you can offer.
Oh? You were targeted in an assault? Let me think. I can't seem to recall anything of immediate interest. Mr. Kaidehara is currently the talk of the town, so there are always a lot of people looking for him.
Yeah, but specifically a guy with a demon blade.
To be honest with you, our detective agency has recently been receiving many inquiries from people wishing to obtain Mr. Kaidehara's personal information.
Damn.
Some of them were offering us millions of mora just to gather the information they want. If these were more legitimate commissions, Sango would have snapped them up in an instant.
Simps? Or stands? Kazuha, you got stands, bro.
Millions? Of mora? Whoa! Oh, wait. Even at that price, you probably still shouldn't.
Like, hey, information, Kazuha. Alright, do it for millions of mora. No problemo. Here's an information. Kazuha has white hair. Alright, I would like my mora now. Thank you. My guy's like a K-pop idol.
But I wouldn't know where to begin if we want to connect this with an assault.
Then let's put that connection aside for now. Have there been any other attacks or similar incidents recently that stand out as particularly unusual? The Tenryo Commission had very few leads, and I thought you might have some information from different sources.
It's true that the commissioners aren't clued up about every little thing that goes on out in the streets. But typically, it's only the most trivial events that manage to escape their attention. If anyone had been out there attacking people, that would be assault, in which case the Tenryo Commission would absolutely get involved.
I still find it difficult to believe that whoever attacked you hasn't been causing any trouble elsewhere.
Use bait? Maybe? Lure him out?
Few people possess your prowess in battle. So unless you were the first person he targeted, someone is certain to have been hurt by now.
Is this your way of giving praise? It was also not easy for me to fight him off.
I am well aware of your talents. There is no need to be humble around me. In fact, I'm quite relieved that you were the one he targeted. It would cause me great grief to see someone become critically injured or lose their life because of me.
Oh, actually, there was one strange incident over the last few days.
Dang, you're
It
slow.
doesn't involve an attack, though. Let me tell you about it just in case.
Sure. During times like this, the more information we have, the better.
All right then. Recently, 2 people went missing from the city at around the same time. One of them is a pretty well-known collector, surnamed Nagato. The other, Amenoma Yuya, is a samurai from the Amenoma clan.
Amenoma Kaguechi.
Amenoma. Now there's a familiar name.
Right. Yuya is the nephew of Amenoma Togo, the owner of Amenoma Smith. 2 grown men going missing at the same time. Their cases are likely connected, but I don't know much in the way of details. I recalled this because Amenoma Yuya is also an accomplished martial artist who is skilled with the blade. Perhaps he is the one you are looking for.
Understood. Though it seems highly unlikely to me. I neither know this man, nor do I have any idea why he may wish to attack me.
Let's consider this a favor for Ryuji. We'll investigate both incidents at the same time.
Ah, if it isn't Kaedehara Kazuha, what brings you here today?
Huh? You two know each other?
Yes. The Kaedehara and Amenoma clans were both members of the Raiden Gokaden. Historically, there have always been deep links between the two clans. After I returned to Inazuma, I visited Mr. Amenoma to pay my respects.
Oh, I see.
Yes, you may recall the story of the Raiden Gokaden from the Iridori festival.
Though all bladesmiths trace their craft back to the same source, over time, each of us has arrived at a different blade-making philosophy, spawning the development of different branches of the same art.
That last line with Kazuha mentioning Iridori Festival, I wonder if it's going to be different. It's probably going to be different for people who haven't played it.
As an example, the Amenoma art strives to emulate the abiding patience and determination of water, as it turns stone to sand. There is nothing mystical to our work.
My boy.
There is only practice, day in and day out.
My boy Hajime.
Until both body and mind have memorized the craft, turning each motion of every technique into an intrinsic part of the bladesmith's life. As for the art of the Kaedehara clan, I believe it's called the Ishin art.
That's right. Ishin art strives for complete harmony between blade and mind from the moment that forging begins. For only a blade thus forged can capture and convey its maker's thoughts and feelings, and eventually become an extension of its wielder's will.
Dang, this Inazuma blade forging is deep.
Indeed. Most samurai choose their blades, but an Ishin blade chooses its owner.
Harry Potter? Like the wands? A wand chooses its owner.
You are, without a doubt, the most worthy wielder of an Ishin blade.
The purpose of our visit today is to gather some information on your missing nephew. We hope to assist with the investigation. It may turn out that this case is connected to another we are pursuing.
Ah, yes. My nephew. I reported the case to the Tenryo Commission, but I haven't heard anything back so far. He didn't say a word before he left, which is very unlike him. I'm still completely at a loss on what to make of it.
We heard that there was a collector involved in the disappearance too. Know anything about that?
Yes. On the morning that Yuya went missing, he gave me a very cryptic look and said that he was going to give me a great gift.
The sword?
I believe he went to collect the item from Mr. Nagato after that. The next thing I heard was that a fire had broken out at the warehouse, and neither of them came back.
A fire?
Yes. Strange, isn't it?
You know something about that?
I wonder what could have caused it. Unfortunately, there was very little evidence left behind, so nobody knows what really happened.
Do you have any thoughts on what Yuya may have wanted to give you?
If I had to guess, it must have been some kind of rare weapon. Otherwise, there would have been no reason for him to get my hopes up. He's never been particularly interested in blade forging, but has always had a fondness for blade testing, and can sense even the most minute differences in blade quality.
Truth be told, we have some information that you may find to be objectionable. The person we are looking for.
Right, yeah, I was thinking, like,
attacked
it
this
might just
friend
be
of
that
mine.
guy.
Based on the evidence we have gathered so far, only Yuya seems to match the suspect's profile.
What? No. Absolutely impossible.
Possession.
Yuya is not that kind of person.
Possession.
He is humble and kind. Even his training is done with the goal of calming his mind. He has never gotten into a fight before.
The blade is in control of him.
If there's one thing I can say for certain, it's that Yuya would never draw his blade without a very good reason.
Wait, if that's the case, then the blade is looking for him? For Kazuha? Or at least what's like the entity inside
But
that sword?
with that said, it's equally out of character for him to just disappear with neither farewell nor fair warning. I also cannot know what course of action he might be capable of if coerced or otherwise compelled by circumstances unbeknownst to me. Anyway, should you find him, please let me know as soon as possible. Growing up, Yuya never caused anyone any trouble. Oh, what could have happened to him?
Don't worry, we'll find your nephew. Oh, is this the wife?
I'm very sorry, but we cannot afford to pay what we owe right now. My husband has gone missing, and I'm still trying to find him.
No, you misunderstand us. We are here to help with the investigation.
They're in debt?
We'd like to ask you some questions about Mr. Nagato's disappearance, if we may.
Ah, I see. I thought the debt collectors had come to visit again. I'm sorry you have to see me in this dreadful state. Has some new information come out? Do you know where he's gone?
I'm afraid we don't have any new information at the moment. We're still trying to find out as much as we can to inform our search. With this in mind, can we perhaps ask some questions about your family's current situation?
For example, Paimon's struggling to understand why a collector would be strapped for Mora.
That's a long story. Ever since I've known him, he's been an avid collector of all sorts of things. He'd always get so animated when he was showing them to me. I knew nothing about the items myself, but seeing how enthusiastic and excited they made him, I was happy to believe that they were just extremely important to him. Everything was fine when we first got married, but as time went by, things changed for the worse.
Uh-oh, what happened?
He lost his sense of restraint. He started buying more and more things, and even resorted to borrowing money just so he could pay for them. Our expenses really spiraled out of control when he started getting interested in weapons. There were days when he'd spend hours down at the warehouse admiring his weapons even as debt collectors were descending upon our house.
That is not a healthy lifestyle. Okay, maybe he came upon the Blade. Blade possesses him. Maybe that Yuna and the Nagato know each other. And the Blade exchanged hands, possession also exchanged, yada yada yada. Though I don't know why Nagato would still be missing too.
He wouldn't sell them, wouldn't even touch them, just sat there staring at them like he was in a trance. On the last day that I saw him, I gave him an ultimatum. I said, if he refused to sell his collectibles and pay off his debts, I would divorce him and take the children with me.
Whoa.
Whoa!
Oh, okay.
And that led to an argument.
Actually, it didn't. Generally, he's a quiet man who likes to go with the flow. On most things, he leaves the decision-making to me. You must understand, I never would have dreamed of threatening him with divorce if the debts hadn't pushed our family to the brink. After I said those words, he froze and was silent for a long time. When he finally spoke, he awkwardly mumbled that he would pick out a few items to sell. His voice was so meek and pitiful that I felt an urge to take everything back. But then what? If I didn't draw the line, what would happen to our family?
You did the right thing. It's most important to set boundaries.
The next thing I heard was that our warehouse had caught fire, and both he and the buyer had gone missing.
Yuna was the
I see. Amenoma Yuya came to purchase a weapon from
Yuya,
Mr.
not
Nagato.
Yuna.
During the sale, a fire broke out at the warehouse, and both men disappeared.
At first, I assumed they must have gotten into an argument over the price. But my husband has never been one to negotiate. He never even haggles when he's out buying groceries, so it's hard to imagine him getting into a fierce argument.
Maybe he was feeling the pressure from the debts?
That he burst the warehouse into flames? I don't think so.
I don't know. He just disappeared after the warehouse burned down. Even though I'm still a little mad at him.
Do we have...
We're a family, and I want us to face our family's crisis together.
Do we have to fight a version of Kazuha at some point?
As long as he's willing to turn over a new leaf, I know we can work things out.
Please don't get upset. There could be more to this situation than meets the eye. If collecting things is a habit that Mr. Nagato had his whole life, it is quite unusual for this habit to change so drastically over a short period. But the information we gathered from the other side suggests Amenoma Yuya is also a mild-mannered man who would not be likely to start an argument.
All of them are not like themselves.
This situation is getting a little confusing.
A little confusing? More like completely mystifying.
I am confusion.
Let's try a change of scenery and see if we can piece together what we've learned. Rest assured, we'll notify you if we find anything. Based on the information we've gathered so far, I can only surmise that the sales meeting between the two men was somehow the catalyst for their disappearance. The fire at the warehouse likely played a part in how the situation unfolded, though its exact role is a mystery. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, Paimon maybe
That's the one
accidentally
IQ
knocked over
theory.
an oil lamp and...
You're trying.
Nope, never mind. Paimon's brain needs to rest for a while. Over to you.
You spoke like one line. Perhaps the fire was deliberately used to hide the truth.
An interesting explanation. I was also considering this possibility. Amenoma Yuya is an expert on swords. He could have noticed some problematic details about Mr. Nagato's
It is
collectibles.
big brain time.
Maybe he recognized a blade as a fake, or a well-known stolen item. Either way, after arguing about it, the two men agreed to hide the truth of this matter. One fact that I keep coming back to is that Amenoma Yuya is polite and well-mannered, while Mr. Nagato is introverted and passive. Neither seems like the type of person who is inclined towards initiating
They weren't
conflict.
themselves.
The more I ponder it, the more puzzling it becomes. Just what could have happened there?
This also doesn't seem connected to the case of the attacker.
Right. Although the time frame seems to broadly match, no other details that we've learned seem to link the two events together. Amenoma Yuya lacks a key distinguishing feature of the attacker, namely that he is principally a practitioner of the blade testing techniques of Amenoma art, not those of the combat-oriented Ishin art.
Was the blade made with the use of Ishin art? That's the thing.
Let's head out of the city and check out the warehouse. There's still a chance we may be able to find some shreds of evidence. Wait, I hear something ominous in the wind.
Oh! This must be another one of those sounds that only you can hear. As sketchy as that whole thing seems, you did put it to good use when we were chasing down that vision thief at Beto's tournament, so...
I knew we could count on you.
Now I'm picking up a strong scent in addition to the sound. It's right around here somewhere.
But there's nothing here.
It's gone now, but I can still sense the direction it left in. It felt very much like that ancient presence in Inazuma,
Tatarigami.
the remnants of the Tatarigami.
Archon residue.
So it's an underground warehouse.
The force is definitely coming from down below. The source of the Tatarigami energy has long since left this place, but the residue it left behind still hasn't dissipated completely. Judging from the concentration, I would have to conclude that the Tatarigami source resided here for a very long time.
Mrs. Nagato said her husband used to hang around the warehouse by himself a lot.
It could well be that he was already under the influence of Tatarigami energy at that time.
Surely someone would have noticed.
From what I've been told, Tatarigami does not turn all upon whom it preys into violent monsters.
Does it affect blades though?
But most will develop a stubborn streak upon being exposed to the Tatarigami's
Stubborn?
unfulfilled will. Their interests become fanatical obsessions. Mr. Nagato had an interest in collecting to begin with. The influence of Tatarigami could explain why he became an obsessive hoarder, amassing more and more possessions even as he put himself in grave debt. All we can do now is keep searching in the direction that the Tatarigami energy's source left this place. Two ordinary humans, entangled with the Tatarigami. I fear much misfortune has already befallen them.
Let's hurry. We cannot afford to delay any longer.
Yes, let's go. If nothing else, it's vital that we find out where this Tatarigami energy is coming from. Quiet your mind and focus on what you sense around you. Perhaps you too will perceive its ominous presence
Elemental
in
vision?
the wind.
Oh, wow.
From this point, the trail appears to split into two. The main source of the Tatarigami energy continued on into the distance, but a small portion remained here and seems to be dissipating slowly.
2 parts, so that would correspond to Mr. Nagato and Amenoma Yuya.
Quite possibly. Let's search the area. Something seems to be drawing their attention. Let's take a closer look.
They're also affected. Oh, I saw Matsutake.
It's...
Ugh! Look at this red stuff. What is it?
The sword?
by the looks of it, a
Oh,
letter.
letter.
Written on a piece of torn clothing. The ink is bone dry. It must have been written quite some time ago. Well, let's take a look.
Red dried fabric. I am Nagato. I was wounded by Amenoma Yuya. He took my most precious blade. I chased him, but could not catch him. I lay down here to rest on my account of my exhaustion. I thought that I might croak right here. My stomach kept on bleeding. It must have seemed that some strange power had sustained me. The blade. Why did he steal the blade? I was going to sell it to him. He even burned down my warehouse. Ah, it hurts. It hurts. But for some reason, I can't fall unconscious. So all I can do to distract from the pain is write. What will happen to Saichiko, Yuichi, and Yuji? I'm sorry to them. I really am. Only now do I realize how stuck in my ways I was, and how blind to my obsession. I must have been cursed. I collected all those strange and bizarre things, but they won me not one iota of happiness or warmth. Put it all together, and it still wouldn't have been worth a single word from her mouth. Thank you, and sorry for letting you down, Saichiko. He died? He was wounded that badly.
According to this letter, a conflict arose because Amenoma Yuya wanted to seize a blade belonging to Mr. Nagato. Yuya started the fire that destroyed the warehouse and wounded Mr. Nagato in the fight. Mr. Nagato kept chase as long as he could, eventually stopping here to write this letter when his...
So, where is he?
He was not only mortally wounded, but also under the heavy influence of Tatarigami. Add to that the fact that its aura seems to have attracted a horde of monsters, and I'm afraid he may no longer be with us. Whatever traces there may have been of his fate beyond after this point, they've since been disturbed by the hilly churls. There's nothing more for us to find.
There's not
here.
even remains to be found. Let's ask the Temui Commission to do a thorough search later. There are more important things right now.
Yes. Right now, we need to uncover some more important truths.
When it's right in front of us.
If Amenoma Yuya is attacking other people indiscriminately, then the longer we take to find him, the more people risk meeting the same tragic end. I have a hypothesis that, if it's correct, not only explains the series of events leading to the two men's disappearance, but also zeroes in on the attacker's identity.
Let's hear it. Yeah, really, it's best not to venture out of Inazuma City if this is what the common folk is at risk of. Alright, follow the black fart. Oh my god.
He seems to have stayed here for a long time.
Why here? Is there anything special about this place?
I'm not sure. But on closer examination, I sense that the aura may have lingered here at several different points in time.
Show yourself! It's no use hiding anymore.
There he is.
Kaidehara Kazuha. It's you, at last.
Aha! So it is the same guy from before. What's your problem, huh? What could you possibly have against Kazuha?
He's gonna recognize the sword, isn't he?
Indeed, there should be no enmity between us. If it is Amenoma Yuya that stands before us. But what if instead of facing Amenoma Yuya, we are in fact facing the blade in his hand?
Was I right?
Now that you mention it, it is giving off a strange light.
Festering desire.
Whoa! Surely you don't mean... Are you serious?
The blade's alive and it possessed Yuya.
Tatarigami energy often lodges itself within physical objects, then works to subtly affect any living organisms in its vicinity.
Okay, it has to possess something first, and then it okay, that's a...
The blade has resided in Mr. Nagato's warehouse for many years, affecting his state of mind, and more recently using the sale as a means to affect, or rather as a means to occupy, Amenoma Yuya's body.
You're sharper than I thought. You've already deduced the truth of the matter. Many, many years ago, I was forged by a famed bladesmith of the Ishin tradition. I was his pride and joy. In me, he placed all his hopes and dreams.
Look at that aura, oh my god.
As a descendant of the Kaidehara clan, you should be able to guess our greatest regret.
I presume it has something to do with the Raiden Gokaden.
Was it abandoned?
Indeed. At that point in time, he failed to live up to the Raiden Shogun's expectations. In the end, All he could do was to flee the nation by sea on a ship bound for Snezhnaya. He was a bladesmith of great renown, a master of his craft. There was nothing that he could not accomplish. All he needed was more time and a little faith. And sure enough, in the end, he achieved what he had set out to do. All of his life's work, his wisdom, his skill, it culminated in his creation of me. He not only bestowed upon me the greatest of strength, but also endowed me with a consciousness of my own. In her conceit, the Raiden Shogun lost not only the single most perfect blade in the entire world, but also an irreplaceable achievement in the art of blade forging.
Is this sword really that great?
The people of the time in which I was born never believed I had that kind of power. They saw me as a mere blade, a sharp and well-crafted one, but in all other respects an ordinary weapon. But that gave me the opportunity to take action. After the death of my creator, I decided to leave Snezhnaya and began my long quest to return to the distant land of Inazuma. Moving from one person to the next, I controlled the minds of countless hosts along the way, each bringing me one step closer to my ancestral home.
Dang, the sword made it all the way back.
I seek but one thing: to face the full force of the Raiden Shogun's blade and prove my power, the might of Ishin art.
So Amenoma Yuya was not your first victim. Tell me, what
Clearly.
happens to those you've possessed when you've finished using them?
My hosts? Who cares what happens to them? They are but tools that serve my mission.
Wow, cold.
When they got tired or injured or unusable, I hopped to the next one in line. All I needed them for was to take me back to Inazuma.
You're awful.
After I returned
And
to
a very
Inazuma,
determined blade.
I decided to bide my time in Nagato's warehouse until Amenoma Yuya handed himself over to me on a silver platter. At long last, I'm approaching my journey's destination. By Amenoma Yuya's body, I have found you, and by your hand, I shall defeat the Raiden Shogun. Kaedehara Kazuha, you stood against the Raiden Shogun's Muso no Hitotachi. There can be no other to serve as my host for what is to come. Now, give your body over to me!
How about no? Well, that doesn't last long.
Do not stand in my way, or I will strike you down too!
Nye.
Your bluff's fooling no one. You've lost.
Lost? I can never lose. It is this body that has reached its limit, nothing more. Even if you defeat me here, the one who falls will not be me, but this man. He is but a puppet that can be replaced. I can take a new vessel at will.
Then we will smash you into pieces.
The end result is the same. I will end this wretch's life before you can lift a finger. By any means necessary and any medium available, I shall return and fulfill my destiny!
Your fighting style. It is indeed the forms of Ishin art. But from your movements, I sense only hatred and arrogance, as well as a thinly veiled mania and despair. If you ask me, the mania is probably due to your desperate, single-minded ambition. You believe I am your only hope.
Are you trying to claim that I am helpless without you?
Yeah. Like, who else is a better host than Kazuha?
On his deathbed, he passed to me all of Ishin art's secrets. The little that you know barely scratches the surface. In that regard, why would I ever need your help?
Because all of that is in the past. I've been wondering why you've not caused more trouble in all the years that you've been in Inazuma. If you are indeed a cursed blade that can possess its owner, now that I've seen inside your mind, everything finally makes sense. You weren't biding your time. You were trapped. After all the time that's passed, you have grown weak, to the point that you are now unable to acquire a new host without making physical contact.
And what of it?
Well, that brings me to my second point. There's a despair in you that is so strong it threatens to overwhelm you. You were determined to fulfill your maker's ambition, whatever the cost. But this ambition is too grand and too heavy for you to bear. Each step you have taken has come at a great cost. I think you realized your limitations long ago. The more you clenched your teeth and pressed forward, the greater your fear of losing everything you had achieved grew, and the more you wished to run from the truth. But the way I see it, what began as an ambition has long since become a delusional fantasy.
What would you know about any of this? I'm just one step away from achieving my goal.
You returned to Inazuma to prove the unparalleled brilliance of Ishin art. But to make this arduous journey, you committed countless atrocities and showed a blatant disregard for human life.
I can't believe we're shooting shots at a sword.
Even if you were to sever that divine light, is this truly the outcome that your maker would have desired?
You...
Sure, you inherited the secrets of Ishin art. But even as you made your journey to honor this legacy, you treated the ones who wielded you as mere tools to do your bidding. How could you possibly unleash the full potential of Ishin art when you act in perfect discordance with the principle of harmony between a blade and its bearer?
Silence, you blabbering fool! I must achieve my goal. This was his life's dream, and the very purpose for which I was brought into being.
This is the wrong way to do it.
I will concede that you are most perceptive. You see my predicament clearly. But you also underestimate my resolve.
And you should face reality.
Easy for you to say. Facing reality offers me nothing. I have no need of anything that would stand in my way. Not hesitation, not self-reflection, and certainly not your so-called reality. It is pointless to argue further, descendant of the Kaedahara clan. If you wish to save this man, then offer me your body in exchange.
How stubbornly you stick to your wayward path. I do not believe for a second that you can challenge the almighty Shogun in your current state. So let us make a bet, and I will put your strength to the test.
What? Surely you're not planning to agree to his demands.
Very well. Then find yourself some enemies with whom you wish to cross blades. A taste of my power will more than convince you. Once we have dealt with them, we shall proceed to Tenshukaku.
And as for your end of the bargain, if you lose, you must release Amenoma Yuya from your control.
I accept.
Don't do this, Kazuha!
This is a risky strategy. You're dealing with a cursed blade that can possess people.
The cursed blade's strength is currently very weak, and I sense he's hesitating. This suggests his heart is still not completely devoid of honor. The power of the Tatarigami lies in intensifying existing obsessions. This is the reason Mr. Nagato and Amenoma Yuya fell prey to it. Since I don't have any similar kinds of obsessions, I should be able to put up some resistance for a while.
But even so...
He picks up the sword and starts spitting bars instead.
Even if things take a turn for the worse, I still have you both here with me.
Aww.
We have a chance here to save an innocent victim. I am willing to accept the risks entailed.
Alright, fine. It's not like I can stop you.
Your disdain for me betrays your woeful ignorance. I agreed to this bet because there are things I wish to learn too. Now, take me in your hand.
You okay?
Kazuha?
I'm okay.
Okay, you're still Kazuha.
I felt a little dizzy at first, but only for a moment. It's all right. So far, this was as I expected.
If something feels off, let me know immediately.
I will. Thank you.
Wait a minute. Paimon remembers hearing about something from the Adventurers Guild.
Really?
Since the Takatsukasa clan abandoned that secret base, it's been held by Ronin ever since.
That should fit the bill. Oh, domain.
All right. Please lead the way.
A few moments later.
Occupied Hold. This was once a secret holding of the Takatsukasa clan, which had been taken over by the Ronin after being abandoned. If you meet any resistance on the way in, well, you might as well check how much strength remains in this mystical sword. I don't think we're keeping the skin for it though. The item we saw in the item preview on Twitter was a orange variant.
How are you feeling? You okay?
I'm alright. The blade is performing
still
largely
there.
as I expected. Having gone so long without proper use and maintenance, it's become very difficult to use.
That's a new pose too.
How strange. Rather than trying to control me, he's instead trying to match my fighting rhythm.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
Interesting.
Wind strike.
Whoa! Something's up with the blade!
What's going on? It's grown dimmer?
I can sense that his strength is slowly fading away. The blade is becoming more and more difficult for me to wield.
Yeah.
He cannot hold out much longer. If he keeps persisting, he will likely break apart at any moment.
And then Kazuha will reforge him.
But what would that do to Amanome Yuya?
I will be careful with it. He also says he does not have any plans to give up easily. He's still trying to achieve his goal.
They're telepathically communicating, you know. Alright, Paimon, chill. It's just one guy.
Are you okay? It looked like you were really struggling the entire fight.
We were okay. You don't have to roast my fighting style this much, Paimon.
Yes, and it looks like he's reached his limit.
After this many
The
enemies,
machine's grown a bit dimmer again. It doesn't look anywhere near as impressive as it did at the start.
right, it's got with the Ultra Instinct aura
Perhaps
around
this
it.
time we'll finally have a chance to see his true form.
True form? What are you talking about? Huh? What the? Is this the same blade as before? It looks like a piece of junk.
This wear and tear is severe. It looks like it's about to break.
If you choose to continue in the state you're in, you wouldn't even be able to beat Samurai and Kairagi, much less the almighty Shogun. Maybe you did truly wield power to rival the Shogun's light when first forged. But the long journey from Snezhnaya back to Inazuma has left you battered and broken.
What's that about resolve?
It barely needs stating anymore. Your ambition is a flight of fancy.
Will he listen to you? Though the truth is right there in front of him.
I've finally figured out why it was that you agreed to my bet. You wanted to reach a state of harmony with me, for perhaps then you would still be able to wield commendable power. But regrettably, we are nothing alike. I will never understand your obstinacy and cruelty, nor can I empathize with the one who made you. The only one who truly understood you had already passed away by the time you were born.
Just accept it, man.
There they are! Take them down!
Where do they keep coming from?
You shouldn't fight with this blade anymore.
Yup. We can help this time.
Don't worry, I'll use my own blade.
Fillet
It's
blade?
just more.
Fillet blade! Hey, let's go!
A few moments.
You fought way better with your own sword.
You are a true Kaedehara in flesh and in spirit. Though we fought briefly together, you have seen me for who I really am. No one knew anything of my story throughout my travels, nor did I tell it to anyone. You are the first person to know the truth.
Because he's tied to the lineage. He's tied to
I
his
thought
ancestors.
that if I could achieve... Too much time has passed. My physical state is poor, and without proper maintenance, I can only disguise my true appearance behind an outer sheen. Yours is the blade that took on the Muso no Hitotachi, and what a magnificent blade it is.
A magnificent 3-star blade. Like, some of these weapons, like fillet blades, should honestly be 4 stars. Because they just look that cool.
Actually, this is just a generic blade that I picked up during my travels in Liyue.
It's his own power!
What?
Nani?
Forging and maintenance are both important for
It's
a blade,
the wielder.
but they are not everything.
The wielder
This
that
blade
matters.
has traveled the land with me for many years, and we have formed a close bond during that time. Plus, in the moment that I most needed it, I received aid from another power. Skill, blade, determination, and desire. All these must be aligned in the practice of Ishin art. There is something else I must tell you. Though your maker may not have been aware, your ability to possess your own consciousness derived from the power of the Tatarigami. Tatarigami is a malevolence from the ancient past. It is the source of your mania and savagery. Though you tried to cooperate with me while I was wielding you, the part of you driven by Tatarigami was constantly trying to seize control of my body.
I sensed it, but I couldn't change it. It is an integral part of my consciousness.
I resisted its temptations because I wanted to save Amenoma Yuya, but I do not know whether you yourself have any intention of trying to fight it. I feel a great sense of regret for you, since you embarked on a journey bound for a destination you were destined never to reach. The moment you embarked on this journey, you lost the only person who could have ever unleashed your true potential, and yet there was no way for you to turn your back on his ambition. You have known this for a long time. It is the true source of your despair.
He gave me everything. My life, my form, my consciousness, and purpose. How could I possibly deny him his wish? I said to him, "Do not worry. From here on, I shall forge your legacy." How could I go back on my word?
Aww.
I believe our bet is now settled. I have nothing further to say. He now has neither the ability nor the motivation to cause further harm. Let's give him some time to reflect on things.
Poor thing.
When I touched the hilt for the first time, it's as if I was transported to a strange dimension. It was somewhere I've never been. A bladesmith lay quietly on the bed, his frail face barely visible under the moonlight. His breaths were weak, and his life near its end. A newly forged blade lay by his side, listening attentively to his final words.
Wow.
The memories.
That was the Blade's memory, wasn't it?
Indeed. While in exile in Snezhnaya, the bladesmith eventually learned the truth behind everything that had happened. The Ishin art had been dealt a devastating blow by the desertion of its best smiths. He spent the rest of his life in the forge, not to vent his frustration and hatred, but to atone for his actions. He felt intense regret at being tricked by the Fatui, but he could never again return to his homeland. His sole wish was to one day return his single, proudest creation back to the land of his birth. So he instructed this sentient blade to find a way back to Inazuma, no matter how long or how hard the journey. But he never wished to rival the gods. All he wanted to show was that they once shone brilliantly as blade and smith, that they were still worthy of being trusted.
So that's the true story. But after that, the blacksmith's intentions were worked by the Tatarigami, slowly turning his proud creation into the cursed blade of today.
Right. I believe the bladesmith might never have known that the power he worked with was that of the Tatarigami. The hatred within that power is what sent the blade down its ill-fated path. This blade has committed unforgivable atrocities, but only because it lost its original master. No one was there to correct its errors when it was losing its way. Time would not wait or stop because of his determination. While the world moved on, his ambition remained stubbornly stuck at that fleeting moment at the dawn of his journey. He seems to have calmed down, though. Let's go and check in.
How you feeling, little blade?
When I look back at the past, I can remember the day of my forging like it was just yesterday. I once told him that I would pay any price to fulfill his wishes. Such was the debt I owed to him for giving me the gift of consciousness. But darkness and slaughter numbed the mind. Over time, I lost sight of the difference between gratitude and grudge. Not only did I fail to fulfill his ambition, I also defiled it.
You are finally seeing reality clearly.
Since we agreed to the terms of the bet, I will honor the agreement and release Amenoma Yuya. But I still cannot bring myself to forsake his ambition. It is the entire purpose for my existence. So, may I ask you to help me fulfill the ambitions of myself and my creator?
Pass it on to us?
It has to be done in this order. At least hear what I have to say. And if you don't agree, I will still release Amenoma Yuya as promised. My physical form, as well as the knowledge I possess, should still be of some value to you.
His attitude has grown a lot milder. What do you think, Kazuha? Should we give him a chance?
Let's hear it.
Thank you all. When I was first forged, my maker was already terminally ill. He told me that he had wanted me to have the grandest opening battle. Alas, after that, he never rose from his sickbed again, nor have I ever had the chance to prove myself in battle since. My fights were devoid of any noble meaning. They were merely the next step in my never-ending journey, the next in a long line of transgressions. You are a fine warrior. I would like to request your hand in battle and experience a true duel between samurai.
Oh? And who would be the opponent?
I will release Amenoma Yuya and restore his consciousness. Perhaps after that, you can convince him to commit to a fight with you.
Amenoma Yuya finally regains consciousness. The party explains.
I see. He used my body to inflict harm on others. I utterly despise him and his actions. But since he stayed true to your agreement by releasing me, he must still have some remaining semblance of honor. If a duel can help to set this state of affairs in order, I am willing to put myself forward.
The other poor guy, though. Feels very out of place to play through this story quest now, but you know, it is what it is.
This reminds Paimon a bit of the Crux Clash.
That was a more relaxed occasion.
Yep, we still can't let our guard down. Even now, Paimon has a sneaking suspicion that Blade hasn't told us everything. Still, even if he's way past the point of redemption, it's hard not to feel a teensy bit sorry for him. Are you ready?
Ready? Okay. All right then. Successor of Ishin Art, Kaedahara Kazuha.
Successor of Amenoma Art,
Ooh.
Amenoma Yuya.
This is like the Blade Challenge from Iridori Festival.
Honored
actually.
to cross blades with you.
It is my honor also.
Oh, that's cool. And there we
That hurts! Wind
go.
Strider!
Thank you for the experience, although he appears battered and broken. In your hands, it seems he's regained a glimmer of brilliance.
We can fix him.
His sense of savage cruelty has completely faded away, but that same sense of determination remains strong.
You also fought well. I'm sure he relished the experience. There are a few things that I shall leave him to tell you himself.
I must apologize to you for all that has transpired.
You need not seek my forgiveness, nor do I have the right to forgive you on your victim's behalf. It is too late for all of that.
I do not wish for forgiveness. I only hope that you will see my transgressions as mine alone and not let them stain the legacy of Ishin Art. I strayed far from the straight and narrow path, but the Ishin Art still has a worthy successor in Kaedahara Kazuha. I beseech you, please understand this.
Yes, I too trust Mr. Kaedahara to do the right thing.
Thank you, successor of Amenoma Art.
This blade has also told me that he has another wish. He would like to visit the Amenoma smithy.
Here we go.
Oh, it's Yuya! You have returned!
I am sorry to have troubled you. It's all thanks to them that I was able to return safely.
You need not worry now. You tell me how to go about the various things
A
that
prized
happened.
Ishin blade. Turned weapon that controls the human mind. Considering their forging philosophy, this was indeed within the realm of possibility. This is a great pity. But I have some good news as well. Ryuji, from the Bonton Sango Detective Agency, tells me that they've found the missing Mr. Nagato.
Oh, thank God he's not dead.
Really? Is he okay?
Yes. Badly wounded,
Okay.
but he will live.
Ah,
And now that Yuya is back,
Good,
it
good,
seems
good.
like the final ending to this story is a happy one after all.
we're not done yet.
I think I know what you want to do.
What's wrong, Kazuha? Is the blade whispering in your ear again?
Yes. He said he wants to take control of me for a brief moment. He tells me that he's thought of another way to fulfill his maker's wish, and he assures me that he won't use my body for anything nefarious. I have decided to let him do it.
Guess there's nothing we can say to change your mind, huh?
The decision's yours. I trust your judgment.
Thank you. I will explain my reasons later. Okay. I am ready. Let us begin. Please, stay true to your promise.
Oh,
My power is almost spent. Without him, my eventual demise is inevitable. But if I abandon the future to give everything I have in this moment, my physical form can be forged anew.
Everything? You mean...
Yes. The cost is my entire consciousness.
he's giving up. He's giving up his life, basically.
You were right. There's nothing that I can accomplish now. But there's still a chance for Ishin art. Once remade, I will be a valuable resource for your studies. Ishin lives on, and its finest hour is yet to come. Even if I am not the one to prove its might to the Shogun, as long as it is an Ishin blade, crafted by Kaedehara hands, it will still fulfill his final wish. Thank you, son of the Kaedehara clan. Over the years, my real name has been forgotten by all. I'm ashamed to utter it, yet it remains strong in my mind. Kagotsurube Ishin. This name is now yours to keep.
Rest in peace.
Kagotsurube. Have we heard that before? It's almost like a funeral before the blade.
His consciousness will disappear forever after fulfilling the bladesmith's wish.
Kagotsurube Ishin. It was the first time I ever heard his name. It seems like deep down he disapproved of his own actions, and thus chose to bury this name deep within his heart. Only in the final moments, before his consciousness faded, was he willing to entrust it to another.
Seems like he really wanted to fulfill his maker's wish.
The same fervent ambition that gave him the motivation to keep going forward also fueled the stubborn determination that blinded him to the path ahead. Speaking for myself, I'd rather see him recognize and atone for his mistakes than see him punished for them.
Too dangerous if you ask me. The remnants of defeated gods are nothing to scoff at.
I understand. Perhaps this is a flaw in my personality. I've always been captivated by grand aspirations. Hearing his wish to rival the divine light touched something inside of me. Just as the sight of those who fought to repeal the Vision Hunt decree did, your quest to face the gods and trace your sibling inspires me in the same way. After everything I've seen, perhaps these pursuits fascinate me a little more than they should.
Oh, Kazuha.
I will continue to support you from this point on. Know that you will have my assistance whenever you need it.
Thank you. I'll hold you to your word.
The Tenryou Commission has already attended to the danger at the warehouse. The investigation into Amanoma Yuya should conclude soon. I do not believe he will be charged with any crime.
Good.
Right, you sure kept your ear to the ground.
Then we needn't recount all the details again. Now, as to your earlier offer, I wish to give you my answer. Please take a look at this blade.
What's this?
Kagotsurube Ishin, a weapon crafted using a long-lost blade forging art of the Kaedehara clan.
Look at the reflection on it, though.
By means of a series of fortuitous events, I was able to recover and restore him. I also promised him that I will continue to study and pass on the secrets of Ishin art. And so, it looks like I will likely continue with my journey across the nations, learning more about this blade as I go.
He's declining.
I see. I understand.
The Kaidahara clan has always been a family of bladesmiths, so it is only proper for me to continue on this path. Were I to accept your goodwill, I may find myself embroiled in conflicts between the shogunate and Sangonomiya. That would not suit me.
You misunderstand. That was most certainly not our intent.
I mean, either way.
I am aware, but I still desire to continue walking my own path.
Very well. I can understand. Then let's pretend this offer was never raised. However, if you should ever change your mind or find yourself in need of the shogunate's assistance, please do not hesitate to inform me.
Great. Thank you for your generosity.
Where will you travel to next, Kazuha?
I'll probably take to the seas with Captain Beto again for now.
Hey.
As for my next destination,
Sumeru?
let's see where the wind takes me.
Okay. There it is. Oh, that's nice. I thought it was gonna be called Cursed Blade. It has its own name. What's a quest? Well, it's kind of a bittersweet ending because of how he had to give up his existence to kind of fulfill his creator's wish. I certainly did not expect them to introduce a character's, like, you know, personal quest this late. Like, Kazuha came out in 1.6. This is now 2.8. More than a year after his release. So maybe there's still potential for other characters, for other 5 stars to get their own quest independently. Before we go, let's see in the archives. Kagotsurube Ishin. This famed blade was born in a nation to the far north, but in the name of Ishin, it was stained with many a dark deed on its homebound journey. A long blade of the color of blood, upon which has been bestowed the name Ishin, is remarkably sharp and vividly ominous. It is said that this blade can easily cleave through a porous bamboo basket and the water within it before the latter can even leak out. People often say that within the body of every blade rests a blade spirit. Then it is natural to assume that a blade forged by the Tatarigami is dwelled by a demon of malice. This renowned blade, Kagotsurube Ishin, is forged by the swordsmith Akame Kanenaga, who failed to become the head blacksmith. Though forged by hand of Inazuman swordsmith, this blade was not made in a nation of thunder and jade steel, but in a snow-covered land in the far north. It beheld in the moonlight. The blade's hamon would look as if it were flowing, like the blood and tears of a wayfaring wanderer. The Tatarigami is a pure malice by nature. It bears resentment against mortal desire. Swords are merely instruments of misfortune. Without wickedness, they will not birth slaughter. Without hate, they would never know the taste of blood. Ishin is the stillness of mind, free of distractions. This purity of desire empowers the swordsmith to forge tirelessly. But by this token, resentment against living things is the metal from which a blade that kills shall be forged. In their frenzied passion to practice Ishin, the Akame school had always pressured the forging of a killer blade that would reach the extremes of lethality. As such, the body and mind of the members of the Akame school were often withdrawn and short-spanned, their hearts venomously graven. The blades made by Akame school were keen indeed, but many of them had some evil within that ultimately led the school itself being regarded as by the authorities as undesirable. For this reason, the Akame school's position as the leader of Ishin art, passed down from Mitsunaga, did not last 3 generations before rescinded by authorities. After that, Akame Kanenaga was involved in the case of eccentric and committed treason. This led him to change his name and leave for a snow-covered nation in the far north, to make a humble living in the land ruled by imperious ice. The only wish of the deceased Kaidahara was to see the Ishin art celebrated by those who understood a sword's beauty. But the swordsmith, the blade, the Tatarigami were all tools and titles for people to wield. I spent half my life in pursuit of the vanity that is the Ishin art. It only turned out that I became another Kaidahara. Ah, what's done is done. My only hope is that the sword born in the ice and frost will not be as weak as its useless title. The Kaidahara clan were master swordsmiths who work best symbolize Masagomaru style, whilst the Niwa clan were humble and diligent, skilled in clay tempering. In their frenzied passion to practice Ishin, the Kame school had always pursued the forging of a killer blade that would reach the extremes of lethality. As he passed away amidst the vast snow, the man only wished to forge a renowned blade with which to restore the name of Kaidehara and win back the recognition of the people. One hell of a tragic backstory for a sword like this. May this blade do you good, Kazuha, on your journeys. Hopefully you go to Sumeru so we can see you there. Alright, well guys, thank you for watching my playthrough of Kazuha's story quest, and I'll be doing the Summer Fantasias quest soon too, because that releases on Friday, but by the time this goes up, it will already be the weekend, so yeah, look out to both of those quests reactions, and I can't wait for our Golden Apple Archipelago, because that will be so fun. And with that, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheerio!